Drivers are on the red carpet as we have Daytona 500 Media Day here at the Daytona International Speedway. Welcome in to Countdown to Daytona. I'm Kevin Connolly alongside Danny Harnden as we gear up for the 65th running of the Daytona 500, the great American race. Danny, this is the one that gets drivers and fans excited maybe more than any other.
Yeah, and it changes your life. And our guest right now, our first guest, will tell you it does change your life to win this race. The 2018 Daytona 500 champion, Austin Dillon. Talk a little bit about that. How did it change your life winning that race?
Well, it's special. You know, it's the only race that you're called champion of. Other than that, you got to win a championship to do it. So it's a championship race. Yeah, there's nothing like it. You get to do a lot of fun stuff with it, and everybody kind of knows this race. And it's the biggest one of the year for us. Our Super Bowl, obviously, started off.
You know, and you have a great history here at the Daytona International Speedway. 2 of your 4 career wins have come here at Daytona. What is it about this place that seems to fit your driving style?
Yeah, you know, I think it's just, you know, sometimes it's patience and putting yourself in the right position, you know, staying with it, you know, trying to be there at the end. You got to be there to win it. Obviously, can't win it on the first lap here at Daytona. And it's a special place, man. I love driving through this tunnel here. I just love Daytona in general.
Drivers are greedy people. You won one Daytona 500. I know you want another and another. Does a one that got away from you still eat at you? Maybe 2021,
yeah,
2021? Yeah, you were there. You were so close.
Yeah, so 21, I think we were, half a car length from that one, so that was close, and ran really well in that race the whole time. So hopefully we can just have that type of showing and come back and try and do it again. Yeah, 2-time would be really nice. You know, been fortunate, obviously, to be in position to not only win it, but get another one almost. So we got to do it again. Maybe this is the year.
All right, now the thing about Daytona, boy, the big one can happen, the big wreck. It's almost at any time, at any lap. You've been involved in a pretty scary accident here at Daytona. You can't think about that you know, as you go into this race. But does that factor in sometimes when you decide to make a move and go for it?
Well, I think everybody, you know, coming here, that's why the intensity is so high, right? And everybody likes to watch it because you know there's going to be a big wreck. And, you know, trying to avoid them is huge and get out of those, you know, tight situations. You know, avoiding wrecks it's an art. It's an art in itself to try and, you know, maneuver through some of the wrecks. Sometimes there's nothing you can do, but, you know, you try and put yourself in good position the whole race and come out the other side.
You know what's funny? Every year, you know, when we do our specials, we pick a favorite, and all the media, pick a favorite. Who's going to win Sunday? There's no favorite. I mean, it's just so crazy at the end. There's no favorite.
Yeah, it's tough to be the favorite here for sure. You can look through your stats and see some pretty cool ones. Actually, I just got told that I don't even want to repeat it, actually.
Go ahead.
A good stat on me right now here, so hopefully we can continue it at the Daytona 500.
Yeah, what an offseason it has been for Richard Childress Racing. Adding Kyle Busch to your team as a teammate, what have you seen in the short amount of time that he has been inside the building at RCR in Welcome, North Carolina? What has he brought to the table to this point?
Well, he's a competitor. He's a 2-time NASCAR champion, one of the most winning drivers in NASCAR. So, you know, having him at our organization just obviously elevates us, and we want to elevate our game to his game and continue the momentum that we've gotten over the last year. And, yeah, it's been exciting. I think our first showing together was really good out in L.A., and we want to build off of that.
Austin, you're 32 years old now. You've been at this a while. Do you feel like, is this middle age for NASCAR Cup driving? Is 32? I mean, how do you feel like your career has gone, and is that middle age?
Yeah, you know, I've been doing it a while now, and, yeah, I guess so. I think it's middle age. I'm out of they don't call me the rookie anymore, the young guy, young gun. I got young gun for a long time. I was like 30 still getting young gun, so I'm 2 years past that, hopefully. But, yeah, you know, I've learned so much. I feel like your prime as a race car driver is from 32 to 35, really, because, you know, experience goes a long way. And now I've got a family. I'm driving for some other people now. I love having my family at the track and just really in a good place mentally and in a great place with the Lord and my family.
Have you had Ace in a car yet?
Ace has a cart, actually, so he was driving it around at the neighborhood. We were in a house down here, and he was driving that cart around, electric cart, and he had a blast. And we took him to see Mickey this week. Best smile in the world, getting to see Mickey. And so we got some positive momentum going into this week.
Hey, last thing real quick, the new look. You got the mustache, no beard. How'd that come about?
Yeah, I just I wanted to change it up. You know, if you looked at all my faces through Media Day, through Daytona 500 Media Day, and just change it up constantly. And my grandfather said, I don't know about that stash. I said, well, there's this one driver that you had for a very long time that wore a stash. He's like, all right, it's fine. You're good. I'm like, okay, cool.
All right. As always, Austin, great opportunity. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you, and best of luck in this year's Daytona 500.
All right. Thanks, guys. I love interviewing with you guys. It feels like home. So
there you go. Thank you,
That's awesome. Austin Dillon, the 2018 winner of the Daytona 500. And again, a guy you have to really consider has a great opportunity to win on Sunday in the 65th running of the Daytona 500.
Yeah, like you said, he's got a summer win here at Daytona and a Daytona 500. He talked about that almost win in 2021 when Michael McDowell won. But back to what we were talking about, there's no favorite here.
Yeah.
It's just the last. I tell people in any sport you're talking about, the last couple laps at Daytona, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, the thing with Daytona and Talladega, for that matter, I could watch super speedway racing every single week, because you absolutely do not know what's going to happen from lap to lap, moment to moment. That's why fans think it is so very exciting. Joining us now is Ryan Preece, who's back in the Cup Series for Stewart-Haas Racing in the 41 car. Ryan, great to see you. How excited are you for this upcoming season?
Well, I'm definitely excited, and I have a lot more to be excited about because of how we ran at the Clash, but not only from that, but how much work was put into that, and the process of building communication and showcasing how we can unload a fast race car, but we can keep making it better as well.
Mm-hmm. So Stewart-Haas Racing, Tony Stewart really wanted you. What did that do for you? Like, oh, Tony wants me. All right.
Yeah, it was funny that when he called me to drive the car, I was in a local tavern about 4 minutes up the road from shop at lunch, and he called me, and I'm like, oh, boy, this is either going to be really good or really bad. And he goes, hey, bud, I got some bad news for you. And I'm sitting there. Everything's going through my mind in such a short period of time. I'm like, what on earth am I going to do? Like, what am I going to race? He said, you got to drive the 41 next year. So it was
and that was
awesome.
The bad news?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I said. I said, that's bad news. But the way he got me going, thinking like, oof, this is going to be tough. But, yeah, no, it's, being a kid, watching Tony and Greg Zipadelli is from Berlin, Connecticut, which is the same hometown that I am. It's awesome to be a part of this organization, have this opportunity, and now we just got to go out and win some races, consistently be up front and make this 41 a contender every week. You know,
you have such an interesting story because several times in your career, you've bet on yourself and kind of put yourself out there as a free agent. And this is certainly one of those opportunities, because last year you were basically a test driver, and you kind of bet on yourself to get to this point. Where does that confidence come from to kind of always put your cards on the table like that?
Well, I can tell you my racing career has been better than my gambling career because roulette usually doesn't go very well for me. But to be honest with you, it comes from my passion for the sport, my own willingness to give up or let somebody tell me, no, you won't ever make it. You don't have whatever that may be that's stopping you from getting to that level. And whenever I've hit a roadblock, I figure out how to make it work, just like anybody who owns a company. You know, sometimes you're going to have bad days. It's about the bounce back that shows how strong you really are. And for me, it's always been about getting that opportunity with that team or those people that you want in order to succeed. And this at a cup level is that step. And you know, having the people that I work really well with and an organization that's behind me to give me fast race cars and let me go out there and pass race cars and put ourselves in position to win races.
Every driver here has their own story, and some people's career is like this. Yours hasn't been that way. Everybody has their own story.
Mine can be like the stock market sometimes. It's really like all over the place, right? You don't know. But I wouldn't have it any other way, because at the end of the day, it's the tough moments like that make you stronger as a racer, as a person. And you know, I definitely wear my emotions on my sleeve when it comes to racing, and that's because I want to win. I tell people all the time that I hate losing more than I love winning. And those days where you lose, that pushes me to be that much better. And when I am, you don't want me behind you because I'm going to push you really hard. Either you're going to make a mistake or I'm going to go by you.
Mm-hmm. Obviously, pushing people, that's a component of running and winning here at Daytona. What's your thought process as you head into the 500? How aggressive can you be in those big packs?
Well, I think you have to be aggressive. Usually the guy that's not aggressive is the one that's in the wreck. And I want to be the guy that's up there leading or contending up front and not the guy that's in the middle of the wreck, in the middle of the pack. Or, it's easier to miss a wreck when you're out front than it is when you're behind. So today I'm approaching this weekend different. It's more of just, hey, we got to see where we're at for speed. Because in years past, you get to practice. You get to know what you have, kind of come up with a game plan from there. We're going out for qualifying, and then we're racing. So we're going to figure out what we have for single-car speed right away, and then we're going to attack the duel with however that may be. If the car's not driving 100%, we're going to try and take what we can get and make adjustments, make that car better going into Daytona or into the 500.
All right, qualifying is tonight, single-car qualifying. Everybody trying to get on that front row, and the dual qualifying races tomorrow. Ryan Preece, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Best of luck in this year's Daytona 500 and, of course, throughout the 2023 season.
Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
All right, very good. Right. Ryan Preece, who is now in the 41 car at Stewart Haas Racing. And that's an interesting organization. Yeah. Obviously, we've talked about Tony Stewart, but how about Kevin Harvick? Yeah. I mean, Harvick is entering his last season as a driver, and Kevin Harvick is a big personality. So he has a tremendous amount of influence on that entire organization, and he has a lot of influence on those other drivers. I can guarantee you Ryan Preece is soaking up as much information as he can get from Kevin Harvick.
I read somewhere that Ryan Preece was 10 years old when Kevin Harvick won his very first Cup race. I mean, so, yeah, he will soak up. I mean, that's some great people to be around in that organization.
Yeah, the thing about Kevin Harvick is he was thrust into the spotlight after the death of Dale Earnhardt. He was put in the 3 car. They put a different number on the side. It was 29. But Kevin Harvick won in his 3rd career start at the Atlanta Motor Speedway in 2001. And Kevin Harvick has been in the spotlight of NASCAR Cup Series racing ever since. All right, what a treat. Tyler Reddick joining us now. And, boy, you're a big-time story this year, no doubt about it. Leaving RCR, going over to 2311 Racing. Boy, the expectation level for you for this upcoming season, it went from here to way up here.
Thank you. There we go. It's been a huge opportunity for sure. When all this was going down, I didn't know how it was going to turn out for this year, but thankfully it worked out to where I could come a year early and get started working on the things that myself, Denny, the whole group have been wanting to set up and do for the future. So, we still got a lot of learning left to do, but again, it's really cool that it worked out to where we basically get a year head start on the whole plan that we had.
Well, you really had it rolling last year. You had 3 wins. Talk about how kind of a breakout year.
Yeah, it was a great year for us. I think all the things were there to be able to do it sooner than what we did, but it just wasn't. We just didn't capitalize on the opportunities that we had in the years prior. We were definitely close, but it was really good to be able to finally break through and break through multiple times and get it done. But certainly, when I look ahead to this year, it's going to be interesting to see, how some of my strengths and weaknesses may shift. Certainly, I hope, to just get better as a driver as a whole. And we certainly worked on that in the offseason, so we'll see how it starts.
When you think about it, you are leaving a winning team. You won 3 races last year. What was it about 2311 Racing that really drew you to that opportunity?
It's just, there's so many things, but they're the vision that Denny, Michael, and the owners have for the organization and where they want it to go over the course of the years ahead. Their plan. Toyota's an incredible manufacturer. They do a lot to support their teams and their drivers. They truly treat you like a family, which has been a really cool transition for me too. How the team operates as a whole and how they prepare for each race weekend. There's a lot of things that they do that I really liked, and was really excited to be a part of it, and it was really humbling to, be asked to be a part of it, and it was really cool to get it all worked out.
Let's talk about your history here at Daytona at this track. Is it right you won a truck race here, Xfinity race here, but the Cup races that you've had here, just stuff happens.
Oh, yeah, they
Right?
do, yeah. It seems to happen on the Cup level. You have that many drivers that are that good, and when no one's giving an inch, incidents happen on the racetrack, and unfortunately I've been in a few of them. The last time we were here, I was in it as well, and still managed to have enough car to finish at the end of it. But yeah, it's just going to be about surviving this race. It's going to get crazy at some point. When it happens, no one knows, and that's why everyone ends up in those crashes.
Yeah, but everybody loves the Daytona. Everybody loves the big races and the big tracks, and it doesn't get any bigger than the Daytona 500. All right, as you sat down, I saw you got your Jordans on. I see the Jumpman on your logo. What was your first meeting like with Michael Jordan? Of course, the great Michael Jordan of NBA basketball fame. What was it like when you met him the first time?
It was, it's stuff that you never even realized could be reality as a kid growing up. And, to sit down and talk with him about, the future and what we would want to do together going forward was just a really cool experience. He's certainly involved. He may not be at every single racetrack because, obviously if he gets swamped by all the fans and all the people trying to get an autograph, a picture, or whatever. So, he's definitely really involved, pays a lot of attention to it, and it was just a cool experience to get to sit down and talk with him and hear his side and hear what his vision and what his hopes and dreams were for this team.
When you met him the first time, did you try to play it cool? Like, yeah, that's Michael. Did you call him Michael, Mr. Jordan?
Yeah, I guess, everyone has, you can call him MJ, Michael, Jordan, whatever. I think I said Michael more times than not, but it was, I tried to play it cool, but certainly, he's a really, really nice guy. Good, he's done so much, right? And for him to have how much of a human being he is and how easy it is to have a conversation with him made it really comfortable right from the get-go.
The thing is about Michael Jordan, and we actually are based in North Carolina, so we know how competitive Michael Jordan is. He loves to win. He's always been about winning. How much was winning a part of the conversation that you had with him?
It was a very big point of the conversation. He wanted to make sure that, I was going to come into a great situation and that everything was going to, work out as it should. And certainly, when we were working everything out, he was hoping that, it would just all go good. And I think it has. Obviously I wasn't supposed to be here till next year originally, but the way things worked out, I'd say it worked out even better for 23-11. For sure.
Yeah. This time of the year, first race are you and every team you walk in here, not only I want this race, this is our year. I guess it's that way in baseball, spring training, and every sport at the beginning. This is our year. You feel that?
I definitely feel like this is a year of learning, and every year past has been kind of the same mentality. It was kind of a rocky start to last year, but the way that we got our wins when we did, it threw us right back in the heat of it all right before the playoffs started. Fortunately, we had a rough go of it in the round of 16. That pretty much took us out of it, just having two bad races when there's only 3 in a round. It's really hard to get through it, no matter what stage of it you're in. But I think for us, looking at how the team's been ramping up their performance over the course of last year and how we started off the year at the Clash, I think everyone's got high expectations. But for me, I'm not looking at the stats to say, okay, is this a good year or not? It's just about continuing that approach and that path to getting better that they kind of have, and I just want to continue to get better as a race car driver. And if I'm on this same rate of progression as the team is, I think we'll be right where we want to be when the playoffs start.
All right, very good. Tyler Reddick, thank you very much. We appreciate the time. Best of luck on Sunday in the Daytona 500.
Thank you, guys.
All right, very good. Tyler Reddick. He is in the 45 car this year for 2311 Racing. We talked a little bit about his experience with Michael Jordan, but again, Denny Hamlin is a co-owner of that team. Very unique situation for Denny Hamlin if you really think about it. He's competing against a car that he co-owns. If we get the opportunity, we're certainly going to have to ask Denny Hamlin about that particular situation.
What a feeling for Tyler Reddick to be wanted. That contract situation was controversial or whatever, but it's so neat. And then, like he was sharing, to meet Michael, and Mike, like you mentioned, he hated losing on basketball. He hated losing in chess and anything that he played, and he wants to win. And I think that organization's going to win.
You know, the thing about Tyler Reddick is, not only did Richard Childress see it, not only did Denny Hamlin and Michael Jordan see it, so many other people involved in the sport of NASCAR know Tyler Reddick has the it factor. He certainly knows how to wheel a race car, and we saw it last year when he went to Victory Lane 3 different times in his career. So, all right, very good. How's it going today?
How are you doing?
All right. The Daytona 500, what does it mean to you?
Well, as someone who has watched this race religiously for many, many years, it's incredible. I mean, this is the great American race, as they say. And I've done the Rolex 24 twice, so I've got to be on the banking a little bit. But this will be a different experience. So it's an honor to be here with all these incredible drivers and teams. And I'm just excited to give it a shot and see what happens.
It's red carpet day, media day. Is this something you look forward to? I mean, you're going to be talking for 8 hours today.
I honestly don't mind it because when we think about it, it's usually these are limited in the times that we actually get to drive the car. So if we have to do this to then drive the car, perfect. Sign me up every time because I love driving, I love racing, and this is part of it. We want to make sure that the people know how we feel going into these incredible events that we get to do.
All right, you've been involved in so many other forms of racing. How does NASCAR stack up and compare to what you've been involved in? You mentioned the Rolex, IndyCar. How does NASCAR stack up with those?
Well, I mean, NASCAR is obviously a powerhouse right now for sure in North America, and it's awesome to see. I mean, I think in general it's good to see racing all across the board kind of exploding in this country, right? I think even Formula One, IndyCar, NASCAR, everything feels strong, which is awesome because it's what puts food on our table. We love that, and I love watching racing. So. And being a part of racing. So I love what's going on with IndyCar. To be an IndyCar driver was my dream as a kid, and also, to get to do this as well, to get to dabble in NASCAR and maybe do a few races this year is super special to me because I love this sport. I want to learn as much as I can. I want to be competitive, and I want to get better every day. So anytime I get to drive a race car, every day you get to drive a race car, you learn something new. And so I'm learning at a pretty fast rate here.
All right.
There have been a number of IndyCar drivers over the years that are just curious about that NASCAR thing. What was it for you?
Yeah, no, you're right. And a lot of those guys I know, Juan Pablo Montoya, Dario Franchitti, Danica Patrick. I've raced with all of them in the 500 before, and AJ Allmendinger. We were rookies together at the Indy 500. Like, I love AJ. He was a great guy. He's been one of my biggest helps before doing this. So it is something that we obviously are very curious about because we love racing. And I think any driver, if you ask them if they had an opportunity, they would do it in a heartbeat. And, it does take a bit of a, it might slap the ego a little bit to try to do this because it has been very hard for IndyCar drivers to come over and do this successfully, like without a doubt. And I actually love to see that AJ has been, very, very successful recently. But think of how many years he's been doing this to try to get to where he's at now. So. I love it. I think a lot of the other IndyCar drivers have told me they can't wait to watch, so I got to make them proud.
All right, Connor Daly, the Indy 500, I mean, they call that the greatest spectacle in motorsports. Now you're going to be involved in the Daytona 500, but you got some work to do in qualifying and those dual qualifying races just to get into the field.
It is going to be tough. I mean, we are the biggest underdog, I think, here for sure. The only really single-car team in the open cars that are trying to make it. And, this deal only really came together a few weeks ago. But Tony Uri Jr., my crew chief, obviously having him, he's got a lot of experience. So leaning on him has been great. I got to talk to him a little bit last night and looking at the weather for qualifying, all this stuff. He's looking at everything, and I love that detail. And, we don't know what's going to happen. The downside is really not that bad, honestly, because we know we're still going to try to show up at COTA and race a couple of other races that we don't have to, qualify our way in. But if we do make it, that's a huge upside for us, huge upside for the team financially, huge upside for me experience-wise. So I'm just excited either way. Either way, there's 60 laps of more experience that I'll have than if we didn't do it.
So you've been in one Cup race, Charlotte?
Yeah, just the Roval.
Do you want to talk about the practice experience you had at Charlotte, or do you laugh about it, or you don't want to talk about it?
Well, I mean, honestly, it just sometimes things break, I guess. And, like, I've been in situations before. I've never had my steering fail like that before, so that wasn't really exciting.
How hard did you hit the wall?
It actually wasn't that bad. I think, like, they fixed the car right up. And for me, I know there'd been a lot of talk about impacts in these cars, and I was like, well, it actually wasn't bad. So maybe I hit it the right area. So I don't know. And also, I've hit really hard in IndyCar before. So I feel like I'm prepared.
All right. Obviously, a great career in the IndyCar series. Trying to make that jump over to NASCAR. How do you see the next 4 or 5 years? Or is that too far to look down the road and you're literally looking at the next 4 or 5 days?
I mean, honestly, my career has been very tumultuous and very interesting. I mean, my first Indy 500 was 2013, which is a long time ago, and this will be my 10th Indy 500 coming up this year. But I haven't done 10 seasons, so like it's been a very up and down, and I've only really started to hit a consistent stride of being employed in the last 2 years. So maybe my 30s are really where things start to become more consistent, and I get to be where I think I would love to be for a long time in life. So I don't know what the next 4 years look like. I have a lot I still want to do in IndyCar, but the idea of doing more NASCAR stuff is very exciting. I think as I talk to our sponsor BitNow.com, I would like to do the Xfinity Series if I were to do something before the Cup Series, because again, I want to respect the system and the ladder system and all that works, but who knows?
All right, very good. Connor Daly, we appreciate the time today.
Thank you, guys.
All right, best of luck in the Daytona 500, trying to make the Daytona 500. He mentioned open cars. What that means is it's a 40-car field, and there are 4 spots that are not assigned to the charter system in NASCAR racing. So 6 drivers are racing for those 4 spots, and they have to race their way in. That's through qualifying and the dual qualifying races. So he really does have a very difficult task ahead of him.
That's what makes tomorrow night the duel so exciting, because you see people just celebrating like crazy. I'm in the race, and that is a big deal.
All right, very good. Chase Briscoe joining us now. We had your new teammate just a little while ago, Ryan Preece. What an interesting time to be at Stewart-Haas Racing. It's sort of a transition year. Yeah. Kevin Harvick has announced his retirement. Ryan Preece is a new driver, so there's going to be somebody new in the 4-car. But what a fun time and interesting time to be at Stewart-Haas Racing.
Yeah, it's definitely a very interesting time. You have, like you said, Ryan coming in. For me, that's been a big adjustment, just not having Cole there. I've been teammates with Cole since 2018. So, me and Cole were very similar. We're really good friends, so I bounced a lot of things off of him, and now to not have him there, but then also being the last year with Kevin, how do you replace a guy that's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer? So, yeah, it's a very pivotal time, truthfully, in our company of where we're going to go the next 2-3 years, because you obviously have to replace Kevin. Eric, who knows how much longer Eric's going to go, so you're going to have to replace 2 drivers. And, yeah, it's definitely going to be very pivotal, I feel like, of where we go, determining on who replaces those 2 guys whenever they end a call.
Eric Almirola, he's already tried to retire once, and they keep bringing him back.
He's not going to be around much longer, so we're going to potentially have to replace 2 guys. So, yeah, it's going to be it's an exciting time, like you said, but it's also a weird time, just knowing that, Kevin's era is coming to an end. And like I said, you can't replace Kevin. There's nobody that you can do that with. So it'll be hard to fill those shoes on the 4-car. But, yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting to see kind of where the company goes.
How satisfied were you with last year? You got a win, finished 9th in the standings. I mean,
yeah.
It was a good year.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good year, for a sophomore year. Definitely would have liked, I think everybody except for the champion wants to have more, right? So, yeah, I felt like for us, we definitely could have had 3 wins, 3-4 wins. There was a couple that definitely kind of slipped away. And, the playoffs, I think we were 6 laps away from going to the Final Four. So you look at that and you're like, well, man, we finished 9th in points. We could have been at the worst 4th. So, yeah, I think, there was definitely a lot of things that I could have improved on last year, and feel like if we can just apply those this year, hopefully we'll be a lot more consistent. We had the speed a lot of the time. I just didn't do a very good job consistency-wise. So, I feel like if I can put that side together, in the playoffs as a team, I felt like we were way more aggressive on pit road and just strategy calls and things like that. And if we start doing that again this year and pair that with my consistency, then hopefully we can sneak off a couple more wins. But, yeah, I think for us, we have to make the playoffs again. I feel like once you make the playoffs in the Cup Series, after that, if you don't make it, it's a failure. So we're definitely have the pressure on us to make the playoffs again. Hopefully, can get a couple wins and just continue to improve. I feel like you look at a lot of guys, their third year in the Cup Series is kind of their breakout year typically. You look at Tyler Reddick, Christopher Bell. I think even Chase Elliott didn't get his first win till his third year. So this is my third year now, so I feel like I finally kind of have my feet underneath me a little bit more, and hopefully those results will show.
Chase Briscoe joining us now on Countdown to Daytona. Year number 2 of the next-gen car. How significant is it to have that full year of experience, kind of where the team, everybody knows where all the bolts and pieces, nuts and bolts go? How significant? Will we see a huge jump in performance with the second year of the next-gen car?
I think you're just going to see a lot tighter of a field. And truthfully, I thought the next-gen car in general already made the field way tighter. But now I think it's even going to be tougher to break away from the pack just because you're not going to have – the inconsistencies week in and week out, where you're trying as much stuff. Last year, everybody was trying different things, trying to figure out what worked. And 1 week you might be good, 1 week you might be bad, where now everybody has a pretty good general idea of what makes this car go and what doesn't make it go. So I think that makes the field even tighter and just harder to really break away from the field. Like the old car, you would see one organization find something. Perfect example, Stuart Haas. In 2020, I think we won 13 races, and, the next year we didn't win any. So if you found that one advantage in the old car, it was so easy to kind of separate yourself from the rest of the field, where this next-gen car, there's still advantages to be found, but the advantage is so small that you really don't gain a lot. So I think the field this second year is going to be a lot tougher just because everybody knows what to expect now. The drivers know how to drive it. The teams know how to work on it. It's just going to be a lot harder, I feel like, to win races. And I think, last year we had, maybe 17, 18 winners. It wouldn't surprise me if we had over 20 this year.
Wow.
How much fun did you have last night coming in with your son in the hauler? We saw you do
that. Yeah, it was fun. My nephew's here, too. So my wife's brother and his kids are here, and he never comes to the racetrack. He comes maybe 1 or 2 a year, and he's a big fan of cars, and Mac in the movie brings Lightning McQueen in. So I was scrolling on my phone and saw they were doing the hauler tour, so Harnden called my hauler driver. And my son, he's only 15, 16 months, so he doesn't really know what's going on. But my nephew, he's 4, so he's like the perfect age to where it's a cool experience. So we all hopped in it and went. My son was waving to everybody. That's like his big thing. He loves waving to people and
pulling the horn.
He didn't pull the horn, but my truck driver was doing it quite a bit. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. For me growing up, I always loved seeing the haulers because you knew the race car was in there and they were always lit up and just looked cool. And I've seen a lot of hauler parades, but never been a part of one. So it was really cool for me to get a ride in it. And I think my truck driver liked it too. He was telling me he's always alone every time he does them. So he finally had some company.
As you were driving by, did people realize it was you in the hauler?
I don't think so.
I mean, with a hat and not your suit on.
Yeah,
I
don't think so. I know my wife told me when we just pulled up in the infield, and I was standing there waiting on him and jumped in. And as soon as I jumped in, the people beside her were like, oh, my gosh, was that him? So, I don't think a lot of people realized that it was me. I was just holding my son up the whole time. So they were probably like, why is this baby riding in the passenger seat of this truck? But, yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Good deal. Appreciate
right.
it.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thank
your
you,
time.
guys.
Chase Briscoe, driver
it.
of the 14 car for Stuart Haas Racing. Again, in the playoffs last year, and one of those guys that could be in tune for that breakout season this year.
Yeah, he's been Rookie of the Year, I guess, in every single series. I mean, this could be a really big year for him.
Yeah, no doubt about that.
Mr. McDonald's is here.
All right.
Bubba Wallace.
What a treat. Bubba Wallace joining us now, driver of the number 23 car for 2311 Racing. A little while ago, we had Tyler Reddick here. One of the questions we asked Tyler was his first meeting with Michael Jordan. What was it like? For you, what was the first meeting like with Michael Jordan?
Where was that? That was here. We were doing an interview with myself, Denny, MJ, and Strahan.
Okay.
And it was cool. Like, I don't get starstruck very often. And I didn't. I did not. I did not. But I found myself like, man, this is pretty cool, hanging out with Michael Jordan. Like, you kind of have like a third perspective moment, right? And it's just like, man, it's kind of cool chopping it up. But other than that, it was, nothing to it.
Yeah. What do you think about today, red carpet, doing interviews for 8.5 hours?
8.5, that's you?
Is it 10 hours?
No, I'm like 3. Don't bring that juju on me. Oh, man. It's my 6th year being a part of the Daytona 500 Media Day. But been doing this. The truck guys come through. So I've been doing it since 2013, right? And I found that the better you get on the racetrack, a little bit off the racetrack, the more interviews and stuff you got to do. So you're kind of going to every station instead of just bouncing around, right? But you enjoy it. It's the routine for us to kick off the Daytona 500 media day, and now we're qualifying later on tonight. So it's an action-packed day, but we're excited.
Boy, in your career, you have been so close here at Daytona. Are those the ones that just maybe keep you up at night a little bit?
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, sometimes I get the bug to go watch races, and you know, it's the algorithms of social media and it's just the timeline of it, right? Probably a month out from Sunday, you know, people will start replaying like last year's finish or some of the greatest finishes for the 500, and I think I've been able to be a part of a few of those.
Yeah.
And so you get to relive it indirectly, and so it's just something that it's hard to go back and like, yeah, this time I'll do this different. There's so many circumstances that have to happen leading up to the end of the finish that you can't really plan out these races. You just have to survive and be smart about every move that you make.
Yeah, which leads to the question we've asked a couple of the drivers. You know, if you want to make a pick, who's going to win? There's no favorite. There's no favorites.
No, it's you never know. There's so much luck that goes into this race, right? I mean, the first time I finished second in 2018, I dodged 3 wrecks. I mean, there's a picture of me shooting sparks sideways on the apron, and it's like, how am I not wrecked right here? So you just never know.
All right, the thing about the Daytona 500, it is the ultimate in this sport. Have you allowed yourself to think about what it might mean to you to win this race?
My wife and I talked about this last night at dinner, and we both know she's still figuring out NASCAR, and it's fun to kind of be able to guide her. But she was like, "Is this going to be bigger than Kansas?" And I was like, "I don't think so." You know, it's just crazy because the way we won Kansas was such a dominant fashion, and something different from our Talladega win, a Speedway win, where I'd say majority of the cars in the field have a shot at winning if you can survive, right? Then it takes that skill aspect to actually win it. But I think winning the 500 is, for me, just another race.
Okay.
It's a great way to start the season. I wish you could win the 500 and then take off the rest of the year and then show back up at the playoffs, right? That'd be nice. But you got to at least tempt every other race.
Yeah.
But no, I think, you know, don't get me wrong, it'd be incredible to win this race. Yeah. But just the factor, the mentality after leaving Kansas was like, great job. This one, good job.
Yeah. Last time I talked to you, it was through a Zoom, and your dog Asher was in the background entertaining us. Yeah. How is Asher doing? I know you love that dog.
Yes, yeah, he's good. He's down here. We drove the motorhome down Sunday, and he's been a blast. He's the best in the mornings. He's just waking up, so he'll jump up in the bed and cuddle with you for about an hour, and then the whole time he's like nudging you to get up to take him outside. So it's fun.
How often do you drive the motorhome to races?
It's usually a routine now to drive it to the 500 to start the year, but I've driven it a handful of times.
All right.
Yep.
What's the reaction when people are driving past you on the highway? Do they figure out it's you?
No, they don't.
No?
Yeah,
Okay.
No.
Right.
I maybe once every 5 fuel stops, a trucker will recognize. But other than that, no, I'm just cruising on down the road.
All right, let's talk a little bit about expectations for this year and 2311 racing. You guys have had the opportunity to work out some of the bugs. Is this the year that organization really takes a big jump forward?
Yeah, I'm putting a stamp on it. This is our year. This is our breakout year. I'm excited, the most excited, most confident I've gone into a season. And, you know, it starts here with the 500, but it really starts when we get to the West Coast and everything after that. So we got new pit crews. We got my same group of guys that we were very dominant in the second half of the season last year. So we're continuing to ride that momentum train and just bring it. That's all you can do.
Does that go along with what you were talking about, the 500? So you want to be good at super speedways, small track, road courses.
All
you
of
just
them.
want to be all. Yeah.
We just want to be on it, right? You know, look at Kyle Busch. He's won at every track on the circuit. And that's something that I want to do one day.
You've got a great history in super speedway racing. What is it about?
Play your cards right. Yeah.
Avoid wrecks.
Come on,
Yeah, I guess I need to
don't-
go get a lottery ticket. I don't know.
Don't be so modest.
No,
Don't be so modest.
We survived. I mean, I told you we were wrecked sideways in the 500, and we ended up second. So you just survive, and you're just a part of good finishes, and it's a testament to the team and the car that we build. Right, it gives you opportunities and chances to go out and showcase that stuff.
All right, Bubba Wallace, driver of the number 23 car for 2311 Racing. Best of luck this year.
Thank you,
All right,
guys.
good luck,
Appreciate it.
Bubba.
Very
All right.
good, Bubba Wallace. Always a treat to talk to him.
Yeah.
You know what I love about Bubba Wallace? He's honest.
Yeah.
He gives you exactly what he's feeling at that particular
Yeah.
moment.
What other driver would say, it's just another race?
Yeah,
It's just another
it's
race.
not
But
just
he's
another race.
no
It
filter.
is
Yeah.
not just another
Yeah.
race. But the thing about Bubba Wallace is he brings so much personality
Yeah.
to the sport of NASCAR, and when he goes to victory lane, it is a big deal. Not a lot of African American drivers in the sport of NASCAR, so they really do, in general, want to see him have success, because that does bring in some fans
Sure.
that weren't maybe necessarily interested in NASCAR racing. Corey LaJoie joining us. Go ahead and put that headset on. All right, Corey LaJoie, driver of the number 7 car. Corey, what's your gut feeling going into the Daytona 500?
My gut's been wrong before. But it's also been right a lot. I think that we are going to have a good day. I don't know what a good day looks like, because everybody's good day is relative to the goals you have going in. But, my good day isn't necessarily holding the Harley Jarrell Trophy, but I think we are prepared, and we are anticipating a shot to contend for the Harley Jarrell Trophy.
Wow, big
Yeah,
deal.
how about tonight qualifying and Twins Thursday? What are your expectations for that?
I think we're going to be slow tonight because there's nothing that has showed me otherwise with our Speedway qualifying single car package at Spire. I don't think we've qualified better than 33rd for a Speedway race in the last 3 years. So I don't anticipate that when everybody's set on kill. With that being said, doesn't really matter. You'd like to have the fastest car here in town for a night, but a lot of the times the fastest car here is really
tricked out.
Is really tricked out. I say shenanigans. You say tricked out. I say they have a lot of shenanigans, and they really can push that gray area after tech or during tech and get their ride heights a bit lower than everybody else. But they also don't race well in the pack. So if your car's super trimmed out, super stiff to get through the air efficiently by itself, it's not going to race great. It's not going to be compliant enough. So even though we're not going to be super fast in single car qualifying, our car's going to have some raceability, and I'll be able to make moves when I want to. And we're going to position ourselves in the duels to get a good feel for how the balance of the car is going to change over the course of the day. Low fuel, full of fuel, old tires, new tires. We're going to get a good gauge of that and adjust for that on Saturday, and then go for the Great American Race on Sunday. But the preparation in the weekend really and truly starts at the duels. Single car qualifying is just like, okay, let's just get this thing. Let's post a lap, and then let's adjust accordingly.
The thing about for you personally, you're very active away from the racetrack, on social media, involved in media in general, doing a lot of interviews, podcasts, and interacting with the fans. Do you like that aspect of the sport, or is that just a part of your job?
A lot of guys would probably say it's part of the job, begrudgingly, right? It's like those guys don't seek it out or want to do it. But when I first started my Cup career, it was with the bottom of the barrel team. I mean, what's the saying in Moneyball? There's the Oakland. Here's us. Here's 50 feet of, you know what? And then the New York Yankees, right? I was down here. So I realized real quick that the only way I'm going to get on TV is if I wreck or hold up the leaders. It's for something bad, right? So I wanted to stay off TV just because I wanted the only capability of the car I was driving for years now was 30th, right? Like every Cup team I've driven for in my career has been a sub-30 team in points prior to when I got there. So I realized real quick if I wanted to be talked about in a positive light, I had to be off the racetrack, or my passion for the sport or the history of the sport. And and my relatability to the fans, whether it's on social media or Sirius, when I fill in for Larry Mack on track, the podcast Stacking Pennies on NASCAR, or staying the extra half hour after a race and signing autographs for the fans after the race. They don't know who I am. They don't care. But if you sign an autograph for them and spend 2 minutes talking to them, and their kids are going to know who you are. Yeah. So I put a lot of sweat equity in that. One, because I like it. You know, I do truly appreciate people who spend their hard-earned money to come watch us. You know, yesterday I was pumping gas at Buc-ee's before we rolled into the racetrack. And, freaking love Buc-ee's. I go there for a bottle of water and gas and leave with a deer stand, a pellet grill, and a hula hoop.
Barbecue brisket sandwich.
Well, I go in, and that's my first stop. Like, I grab a brisket sandwich just for the walk, you know, just to, like, keep myself going.
Sustainability throughout the whole
fuel,
store.
right? Because you walk through the store so long, you do need a brisket sandwich to fill you up. But I met a couple. The husband's name was Ralph. They're parked right out here in turn 1 and 2, and they've been coming to Daytona for 30 years. You know, so I enjoy taking the extra 5 minutes to just – I didn't even introduce myself. I just was, like, talking to him. Hey, like this or that. He saw the shirt I was wearing. I had a 7 on it. He's like, are you – I'm like, yeah. Well, you got a haircut. I got all of them cut. So I love hearing those stories on people's genuine passion for the sport, because I share the same passion. If I wasn't driving, I'd freaking watch it every week. You know, I just appreciate the personalities. I appreciate the craft of honing the skills enough to be able to drive a 3,600-pound piece of steel on the verge of crashing every lap.
Yeah.
That shit is what excites me.
Your podcast, Stacking Pennies, is very entertaining. Talk about how NASCAR drivers, more than other sports, you guys are so articulate. You can sit around, you can fill in and do TV work. Why are NASCAR drivers good for that? It seems like
it's a great question. I don't know. I put a lot of work into it because I wasn't super articulate. This is our 3rd season with Stacking Pennies at NASCAR.com. I did 2 years of podcast before that, and really it was going back. I would call it a self-audit. So after 2 or 3 weeks, I would listen to, you know, a half an hour, 45 minutes of an episode and think about what I was trying to articulate and how it came across, and did I use a metaphor here when I wanted to, or did I use too many ums or ands or uhs, and just try to clean it up. And I legitimately put a lot of work into it to get good at it, because I saw a lot of value there for our partners, one being, you know, Celsius is on our car this weekend, the Daytona 500. Excited to work with those guys because our brands really align well, and their product tastes great because I'm holding a peach vibe right now and been sucking it down all morning.
Very good. Corey LaJoie, driver of the number 7 car for Spire Motorsports. We appreciate the time today.
Thanks, guys.
All right, very good. And again, he is one of the true personalities in the sport of NASCAR racing, and that's Stacking Pennies, right? You're right. I mean, it's a very, very interesting listen for NASCAR fans.
It is. Enjoy him very much. How you doing?
Good, sir. How are you?
How's your morning? How many interviews have you done yet?
A few for sure. Yes.
All right. What is it about the feelings that you have when you roll through the tunnel here at Daytona?
Oh man, there's so many. This is Daytona. This is the biggest race of our year, and all the history that's been completed here, and the 75th anniversary. So the history that's going to complete here on Sunday. This is a big deal for us in NASCAR, and I'm excited to take it all in.
Everything that's going on, it's more than just Sunday. What are your thoughts about qualifying and all that, and twins and everything going on?
Yeah, obviously I have a charter car, so I don't have to worry about too much about qualifying or the duels. So we're looking to take qualifying and the duels as more of a practice session for myself. This is my first ever Cup start, so just learning these cars, learn how they drive, then get ready for the Great American Race on Sunday.
How did the whole charter system and acquiring a charter, Riley? How did that go about? I mean, because
yeah,
that's a tough business, decision for a lot of people. How did that all come about for you and get you in this car?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of people behind the scenes, but the team at Rick Ware Racing has a charter, 2 charter cars, the 15 and the 51. So I'll be in the 15, but there's a lot of important people to get me here, obviously, with Monster Energy and Sonny D and Kevin Harvick and KHI, the management group, and obviously my full-time Xfinity team at Stewart Haas Racing, working hand-in-hand with them and putting me in the right positions to excel on Sunday.
A few moments ago, you just kind of rushed through. You said it's my first Cup race, kind of like, this is a big deal.
Yeah, this is a huge deal. Just soaking it all in. This is cool. I never really thought I would make my first Cup start, let alone at the Daytona 500. So nothing like making it on the biggest stage. But I'm excited. This is what I dreamed of ever since I was a young kid. So we're going to take it all in. And I'm going to learn, and hopefully complete 500 miles on Sunday.
Riley Herbst has had a lot of great experience, but a lot of great success in the Xfinity Series. How do you bring that to the Cup Series?
It's going to be hard, but I think the biggest thing is just patience. The small amount of knowledge I have from the Xfinity Series, take that into this weekend, and obviously I still have to complete and hopefully win my Xfinity Series race on Saturday night, but just take all that knowledge I have and just kind of take it lap by lap and see what the car will give me and what the race will give me, and see where we end up on Sunday.
To be perfectly honest, I almost didn't recognize you in a different color suit because for years you only wear the Monster.
Yeah, black and green.
Yeah, so
I usually like to stand in the back wearing all black, but now I have to stand in the front. I'm bright orange, so for the people listening back at home, this is new for me too.
All right. You mentioned Kevin Harvick and KHI. What kind of influence has he had on your career?
Yeah, he's definitely helped me out quite a bit, not only on the racetrack, but off the racetrack as well, just giving me more advice on how to handle myself and what to do in racing situations and off the racetrack. So it's cool to be a part of that group and hopefully to continue that relationship.
What are your thoughts on Sunday? What do you know about how the other drivers will view the new guy?
It's definitely tough hopping into a series with those big yellow stripes on your bumper as the rookie. So, but I don't expect too much of a difference. Like, I understand that they're here to win the race just like I am. So I'm going to take what the car will give me and just take it lap by lap and see where that unfolds and how the race plays out, and just listen to the team and try to make the best decisions possible.
Obviously, you're contracted to Stewart Haas Racing in the Xfinity Series. You mentioned the influence that Kevin Harvick has had. How about Tony Stewart? What kind of influence has the owner had on you in your career? And is he a guy that you can approach with any type of question?
Yeah, Tony's super approachable. The biggest thing is that people forget, but Tony's still like a hardcore racer. Tony's racing all over the country, so when I do see him, it's good to catch up and talk. But obviously with his full-time drag stuff now and sprint car stuff, he's busy as well.
On Sunday, I know you have a job to do, but even right before the race when Thunderbird's flying over, how much will you just soak it in and just enjoy it?
I have to, man. There's nothing like your first, so that's what everybody's told me, that this is my first Daytona 500, obviously, and if I get lucky enough to race it again years to come, there's nothing to be like the first ever experience, and I've taken that kind of heart and just kind of allowed myself to take a step back before I hop in the race car and just, I mean, this is the coolest thing ever. This is the Daytona 500, so hopefully we can have a good run, but just soak it all in.
All right, Riley, a full Xfinity schedule. How many Cup races are you going to do this year? Is it a full-time deal, or explain your season?
Yeah, so obviously the full 33 Xfinity races, and as far as the Cup stuff, this is the only one on the schedule right now, just to kind of get my feet wet and understand how these cars drive and how it's like racing against the best drivers in the world and in NASCAR. So I'm excited for that, but we'll see how this race unfolds and take it from there.
How many times have you been in a next gen car to even test?
0. So the first time we get to start it up is going out for qualifying tonight, which will definitely be an experience. But hey, that's what there's always surprises, and you just have to adjust.
All right.
How fun is that? How young were you when you jumped into something fast?
I remember I got my first go-kart, a little asphalt go-kart, when I was for my 5th birthday. So it's been quite some time, and obviously just developing and growing through the ladder and trying to get better.
Were you good at 5? I mean, could you tell, like, hey, I got something here?
I don't really remember. I don't know if you guys remember when you were 5, but I don't really remember it too vividly. I remember how much I loved it and how much of passion I had for it, and the sounds and the smell that racing brought to my senses. And it's such a cool sport, man. It brings people together, and it's very competitive, obviously, most like everybody here is, or else we wouldn't be in this level. But it's fun, man. I love it.
Riley, when I was 5, I think I got a baseball bat.
Yeah.
I think that was my big present.
Yeah.
But no, we really appreciate the time today.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Best of luck on Sunday in the Daytona 500. It should be pretty exciting.
Awesome, thanks.
All right, very good.
Thank you,
Riley
Riley.
Herbst, he's the driver of the 15 car for Rick Ware Racing in the Cup Series. But again, he's a full-time Xfinity Series driver in the 98 car for Stuart Haas Racing. And again, he's got some skills.
Yeah, that was funny when you asked him, how much experience in the next-gen car?
I know.
None.
Oh my gosh! But think about that. I mean, it takes a certain mentality to not be intimidated or scared even
he was
about
smiling.
that
He was like,
situation.
No experience. I'm
No,
good.
That's very interesting.
Wow.
And the good thing, I guess the comforting thing for him is the fact that he is with a chartered team, so he is guaranteed a starting spot in the Daytona 500. He is not a part of one of those 6 open cars that have to race their way in to the Daytona 500 in the dual qualifying races. Again, those 6 open cars are going for 4 spots, the 4 final spots in the Daytona 500.
And those 6 drivers are Zane Smith, Austin Hill, Connor Daly, Chandler Smith, Travis Pastrana, and that name. Jimmy Johnson has to race his way in.
Very exciting that Jimmy Johnson is back involved in NASCAR racing, a 7-time champion, 83 career Cup Series victories. I mean, he is you could argue that he is on the Mount Rushmore of NASCAR drivers. If he's not on the main 4, he's definitely on the next 4 of Cup Series drivers on the Mount Rushmore.
What a story it would be if he has a fast car and he contends. That would be interesting.
I think he's going to have a fast car. Yeah. I mean, because he really, truly is a great story. But we're here at Daytona at Media Day for the 65th running of the Daytona 500. Kevin Connolly alongside Danny Harnden. This is Countdown to Daytona. Again, very exciting time for NASCAR drivers, NASCAR fans, as they look forward to a new season. But this is really, really a big deal, and it's fun to be a part of this day as drivers come down the red carpet and they answer all the questions about the upcoming season.
They're really cool about it too, because they get answered, the same question over and over and over, but they're really cool about it, which is really nice.
Yeah, no, they they understand. They understand this is a business too, and they want to get their sponsor's name and brand out there. I think we've had 2 or 3 drinks right in front of drivers as they did their interviews here with us. But
what
again,
I'm looking forward to? That sun is supposed to be out all week long. We're supposed to have great weather here. The Sunday's forecast for the race looks great. That's really good news.
One of the other things that's very, very exciting, Danny, this is a complete sellout. Over 101,000 fans in the grandstands. All the campsites have been sold. When you combine the grandstands and the infield, we're talking close to 150,000 people will be here on Sunday for the Great American Race.
Daniel Suarez.
Hey, Daniel. How are you?
Nice to see you.
Great to see you.
Put a little headset on. We'll chat.
All right, Daniel Suarez, driver of the number 99 car for Trackhouse Racing. As an organization, boy, what a season Trackhouse Racing had last year with you and Ross Chastain. How do you top that? How do you make it even better in 2023?
Well, you have to work hard. You have to work hard and smart. I think that's something very important. I think that, last year we're working hard and we didn't have a lot of expectations. Already the expectations we're building as we were going. And I think that now is different. Now we know that we belong here, and we showed that the entire year last year. So we have to continue to work in our process, to work in the little details, how to get better every single weekend, and and do not settle for little. Do not settle with what we did last year. I think that we have some amazing opportunities this year, and I can't wait to see what we can do.
How much do you appreciate where you are in your career? Because there are some drivers in here right now that their career just boom, and it hasn't been easy for you. How much do you appreciate where you are right now?
It's very special, man, because it's been a lot of work. It's been a lot of work to be in this position. I'm very, very happy in the place I am right now with Trackhouse, the people I have in my team, and everything that we're building is quite special. It has took me a handful of years to find this place and to be able to build it, and to be able to say right now that I have an amazing team behind me, that I know for a fact that every single weekend we're going to show at the track and we're going to have an opportunity to compete and to win. That's quite special. Not every driver can say that, and I feel very, very proud of that.
Mm-hmm. In your career, you've been involved with Joe Gibbs Racing. You've been involved with Stuart Haas Racing. What makes Trackhouse Racing different for you?
I think that Trackhouse believe in me in a whole different level, and they were able to build a team around me. I think Stuart Haas, they tried to do that. It just time on things didn't work out. But they with Trackhouse, I think it's been quite different because they have believe in me 100% and adjust things for me since day one. So it's been quite special to be part of this journey with them. The energy that they bring, the adjustments that we have done in the 99 team, and how we've been able to evolve. It's been quite special. To be able to know that everyone inside the team has my back to continue to build, and that that the team wants absolutely the best for you. I think that's one of the advantages of having two cars. That you can put your energy in two cars 100% instead of 3, 4, or whatever amount of cars you can have. So I think we're in a good place, and I'm very, very happy to be here.
All right, the two cars that he mentioned, the 99 that he drives, the one car of teammate Ross Chastain. What's he like as a teammate? Everybody saw that move last year at Martinsville that got him into the playoffs. But what's he like on a daily basis as a teammate?
He's a good guy. Him and I, Ross and I, honestly, we're very, very different. We're very different when it comes to our personalities. But we have a few things in common. Those few things in common is we love to compete. We are disciplined. And we work hard, and those things in common, I think, make us work together well, even though that we have very different personalities. Mm-hmm. So I think that's great, and him and I, we have worked very good in to know what is what to expect from each other as teammates, because we race hard, and that's great, and that's something that is very, very important, to race hard, but we respect. Mm-hmm. We don't want to wreck each other, but we race hard, and I like that. I don't like to have a teammate that I have to be extra cautious with. Mm-hmm. I like to see him as another competitor and be respectful. Mm-hmm. But yeah, our relationship is very, very good, and it continues to get better.
How much do you love this place and this race?
This race, I love it so much just because first of all, it's the most amazing race of the year. It's just so much energy. The Daytona 500. I mean, if you can win one race, this is the one, right? This is the one race that you want to win. And, that's already very, very important. But also, there is so much anticipation building for this. So much work, so much media, so much stuff going on, qualifying the duels and everything. So it's quite special. It's quite special to be here, and the most amazing part about it is to wake up Sunday morning and to know that you are going to have an opportunity to compete and to make history in NASCAR.
Recently, just this week, there was an article out where NASCAR is actually looking to expand, maybe even putting a race in Mexico City at some point in the future. What would that mean to you?
It would be very special. It would be very special for me, very special for the sport. I think that you know, the Mexican community and the Latin American community will love that, because you know, we have so many good NASCAR fans in Latin America that I feel like they deserve that. You know, they I mean, obviously selfish, you know, me talking, I would love that. You know, that's my country, that's my home. I haven't raced in my home for many years, but I feel like Latin America, they want this. You know, they love NASCAR. You have no idea how many people reach out to me every single weekend from everywhere in Latin America, Argentina, Colombia, Brazil, you name it. I feel like they deserve it.
All right, very good. That'd be awesome to see.
Yeah.
I'd like to go on that trip.
Yeah, let's go together. We have some good tacos.
Daniel Suarez, driver of the number 99 car. Thank you very much
you
for
so
the
much.
time today. We really appreciate it.
I appreciate you.
All right, very good. And again, he's at Trackhouse Racing, Danny. They had a breakout season last year. There's no doubt about it. He was in Victory Lane. His teammate Ross Chastain also in Victory Lane as well. Always a treat to talk to him because he is he's a good guy, very honest, very open.
All right. Can I introduce this?
Yes, you go right ahead. You go right ahead.
So this is the 2023 Daytona 500 winner, Kyle Larson. And I'm going to explain this. See, every year we do a special and we make a pick. And in 21 years I'm doing it, I've never been right. So I don't know if this is good news for you. I'm picking you this week for this Sunday to win the Daytona 500.
That's right. I'm not going to blame you if I don't win, because I haven't had.
Have you ever got it right? I've never got it right. I don't know.
I don't think I have.
But this is going to be your week.
This is the hardest race
Tell me
to
why
predict.
I'm right.
Yeah.
Tell me why I'm right. You're going to have a good week.
I don't know why you're right.
Well, come on. Give me something.
I don't know. I've got a very fast race car, I'm sure.
Yes.
I think. We
Yes.
don't get any practice,
Yeah.
so I don't really know. But Hendrick Motorsports is always really fast at super speedways, so that gives you confidence for sure when you come to these races every year.
And Hendrick Motorsports has a fantastic history here at Daytona. What would it mean for you to put your name with the likes of Jimmy Johnson, of Jeff Gordon, of a lot of the great drivers in the past for Hendrick Motorsports that have won here at Daytona?
Yeah, it would be amazing. You know, I've been lucky enough to win a championship for Hendrick Motorsports, but I think next is adding that name, adding your name to the Daytona 500 winners list, and for Hendrick Motorsports. So, yeah, we'll see. You know, it's a tough race. It's so unpredictable and hard to position yourself up front at the end of the races. So it's amazing the guys that do it year in and year out. You know, Denny, Ryan Blaney, Joe Logano, guys like that, who are always up front. So we'll see. It's a tough race, but I look forward to it.
So you have pole qualifying tonight. You said you think you have a fast car. 7 of the last 8 pole sitters for the Daytona 500 have been Hendrick cars. Most likely you have a fast car tonight.
Yeah, I think we do. Had we done practice like normal, I would come here and be like, all right, I know I'm going to have a shot at getting the pole, but nobody has an idea. But we qualified well on all the super speedways last year. We got the pole at the 500 last year, so I don't know. We'll see. I just try not to miss any shifts and launch good and all that and do my part. And I know Cliff and the guys have built a really fast undercars.com Chevy.
You know, the thing is, at Hendrick Motorsports, you know you have the best equipment in the sport. You know you have the best personnel that money can buy in the sport. Does that put so much more pressure or added expectations on you for an entire season, knowing you're with a championship team?
I guess it could, but I guess I don't really think about that either. I think if anything, it gives me confidence going to the racetrack, knowing that I have all those great things that you just mentioned. So, but yeah, I don't think it gives me any pressure. I guess if you were getting into a slump, maybe you would have some more pressure. If you weren't running where your teammates were running, you would feel the pressure. But thankfully for us, we have 4 great drivers, 4 great teams, and we all run fairly similar most weekends. So I think that takes a little little pressure off.
Your history in the Daytona 500, you have 4 top 10s, but how do you look at, I mean, you got caught up into some stuff, which everybody does. How do you look at your history of this race?
Yeah, I don't know. This is like the only super speedway race where I seem to finish, I guess. I feel like whenever we go to Talladega, I crash. Whenever we come back here to Daytona in July, I crash. So I don't know what it is about the 500 that I seem to I still crash, but I don't crash as hard, so I can finish. But I don't know. It's I'm not sure. This is a different style, unique style of racing to me, and what I'm used to and grew up doing, so which it is for everybody, but I just haven't adapted to it, it seems like, as well as others have, and it changes all the time, so it's hard to keep up with, and I don't know, it's just difficult for me for whatever reason.
Things happen so fast. Can you explain how quickly you have to make decisions in the car, or is it truly just natural instinct?
Well, for the majority of the race, things aren't happening that fast. Because you're kind of, if you're mid-pack, you're kind of stuck where you're at, and not totally stuck, but you're not blowing by, like you're not like zigzagging all your way to the front. So it's like a slow process to move forward. I think the things that happen quick are when there's something happens way up in front of the pack, and like the pack stacks up and stuff like that, or you have to juke to miss certain things, or green flag pit stops are really happen fast, and avoiding running into people. That's when it gets kind of crazy. But as far as just like racing, it's not too wild until it is.
Well, you had that magical year in 2021 where you won 10 times. Last year you won 3. You don't look at last year as like, I won 3 times. It was okay. I mean, it's still a good year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I think, if you could win 3 races a year for the rest of your career, that's a pretty good resume. So I don't look at it as it was a terrible year, which I feel like some people may, just based off of how many wins we had in 21 and winning the championship. So we won 3 races, and we were in the running for the Owners' Championship at Phoenix. So we were part of the Final Four. So it was a great year, but you want to be better. We didn't win as many races as the year before. We didn't win the championship. So yes, we know that we're capable of doing it. So that gives us confidence, and probably sets our standards maybe a little higher than normal. But yeah, it's tough. The Cup Series is so tough. It took me 3 years to win my first race, and didn't win again the next year, and so it's really tough. You got to be perfect, especially with this new car. It seems like it mistakes are more magnified for whatever reason.
Are we going to see a big jump in performance from year 1 to year 2 with the next gen car, because everybody now has a year of experience working on this car?
I hope, me selfishly being a part of a great race team with a lot of resources, I would hope that, as we get more experience with this car, that the bigger teams are going to, distance themselves a little bit, but we'll see. So that's why I'm excited to get the season started and get flowing into the thick of the season, and just seeing where we stack up. We ended the year really good, so I think that means hopefully that we'll start the year off strong and build on that. So I know Cliff says that they've made the cars even better and all that throughout the off season, as much as they're allowed to do to them. So that gives me confidence, seeing his confidence.
All right, very good. That's his crew chief, Cliff Daniels. Kyle Larson, we appreciate the time today. Best of luck in Sunday's Daytona 500.
Yeah, thank you, guys. Thank you.
All right, very good. He's
the winner. You didn't.
Yeah, that's right. Danny's pick for
you got to come through for me, Kyle.
Wait a minute. We talked about pressure. You just put all the pressure on him.
See, my problem. See, he's never won the Daytona 500. When we do our picks, I like to pick people that haven't won.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I pick Kyle
you
Busch all
Kyle
those
Busch
years,
every year.
Carl Edwards all those years, and Brad Keselowski all those years, and they haven't won.
I'm going to pick a driver this year that has not won, but who has been very, very close. Ryan Blaney is going to be my guy this Sunday in the Daytona 500. Again, we just finished talking with Kyle Larson, driver of the number 5 car for Hendrick Motorsports. It was announced this morning that his teammate Alex Bowman has signed a long-term contract extension through the year 2028. So that means, Danny, all 4 of the Hendrick Motorsports drivers, we're talking Kyle Larson, Alex Bowman, William Byron, and Chase Elliott, all 4 of those guys are locked in to long-term contracts. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Mr. President is joining us now. Yes,
Frank Kelleher, the president of the Daytona International Speedway. Great to see you. We appreciate the time today. Boy, every time I've seen you, you've had this big smile on your face.
Permanent.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't shake this during the 65th running of Speed Weeks. I'm feeling good. The property's looking great. The team is feeling good. I know we're not supposed to look at the weather, but I got a little glimpse into it, and as of right now, it's looking great. So we're feeling good.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Can't wait for Sunday. I bet you can't wait just to see this place electric.
Yes, I mean, just getting till Sunday is going to be a feat in itself. We got qualifying tonight, which is always a blast, and then tomorrow night the Blue-Green Vacations duel. I mean, let's break that down. Jimmy Johnson legit has to race his way in, as well as Travis Pastrana, Connor Daly. I mean, these guys have nothing to lose, so I just think the last few laps of that race is going to be one where everyone's going to be on their feet. We're thrilled to welcome back Craftsman in the Craftsman Truck Series. Always some amazing athletes behind the wheel there that are looking to earn their way into the Cup Series, so they always put on a great show. Saturday is just a really fun doubleheader. We got the Brandt 200 on the ARCA race, as well as Beef It's What's for Dinner Xfinity Series, so a big ag day. We've got the agricultural community out here on Saturday. And then, yeah, I don't think there will be much sleep for me on Saturday night. It's going to be a busy day on Sunday. The Thunderbirds are here already. Dierks Bentley is pre-race show. The list of VIPs keep growing, so we're ready to go. It's going to be an awesome day.
All right, no doubt, very, very exciting. You mentioned Connor Daly. Here's a guy that has been in the Indy 500. He's a guy that has been in the Rolex 24. And he talked about a little while ago just how this is one of those races to be a part of. What does that kind of say to you for a guy that has such great experience throughout the world of motorsports, and he really wants to win here at Daytona?
So I grew up a race fan. I grew up in a racing family. I grew up in my family's garage business, and I had a small career behind the wheel. So putting myself in as a fan and thinking of growing up and watching the sport, I think motorsports right now is in such an awesome spot. Like, I remember to where people define themselves as, well, I'm a dirt guy, I'm a dirt fan, or I'm a pavement fan, or I'm a road course fan, and it was you kind of picked your lane, to where right now motorsports as a whole, we're seeing more crossover than ever. And the drivers are cool with it. The team owners are cool with it. And as a promoter, I love it. I mean, I love authentically tapping into the sports car world, the open wheel world, and having their drivers here. As much as I know the Indy 500 is just thrilled at the thought of Kyle Larson, saddling up and running that race as well. I was out at Volusia Speedway this year and last year for the World of Outlaws. And, what I just hit on was a lot of the conversation of, man, like the big track is here. Typically Daytona wouldn't be here, and it's like, you throw races when the racers are in town. Like, why wouldn't we be here? Whether you're coming out to the World Center of Racing or not, you're a race fan and you're in town, and we want to say thanks for being here. So I just think, it's motorsports, 2 wheels, 4 wheel is in a really fun spot, in a really healthy spot, and I love the crossover and hope we get more of it in years to come.
You know what really helps is the people. I don't know how much do you interact with the drivers? We just talked to, for the last hour and 45 minutes, probably 12, 13 guys. They're just cool dudes. I mean, they're great guys.
You think about, like, one of the coolest jobs in the world. I mentioned the Thunderbirds. I think being a Thunderbird pilot and being a NASCAR driver, like, what could possibly come next to that? But, yeah, I think, again, we are surrounded by athletes, drivers that want to race. They want to race. They're not being told that they need to race, or they want to aspire to be a professional race car driver, and they're willing to make sacrifices, and they want to earn it, and they're humble with it, to where I think, there's moments and times of, well, how did that person end up in that ride? Oh, well, there's a story there. The people that are taking the green flag on Sunday, they fought their way into those seats. They earned their way into those seats, and they want to make a name for themselves. But when you break it down and you have an opportunity like you guys did to hear their their story, like they're really great people, and they want to win and they want to have a good time, and they're also respect and understand that they're in a unique spot and that there's a lot of families and people that are making sacrifices to see their race car go fast, and they want to earn that.
And I think what they all have in common is even if there was no money on the line, no trophy on the line, they would all be like, come on, let's race. Come on,
That's
I want
right.
to beat you.
100%. I mean, it's just innately in them. They are competitors. They might even wreck a family member if need be. You know, I mean, they're just.
They would.
There's been a
there.
few that have wrecked family members over the years. All right, for you personally, is there a moment? Is there an aha moment for you on race day when you just kind of sit back and you see this place sold out? There's not a seat to be had. Infield is sold out. What is that moment where you just job well done?
I don't know if I'll ever get to the job well done part. You know, definitely will find moments to appreciate it and be happy, but always just thinking through like, okay, what can we do better? Or how could we make it even better for next year? But to answer your question, I mean, I started as an intern 21 years ago and, you know, drove down from Pennsylvania and interned here all summer long, and it was my first 4th of July event weekend race. Went back home to Pennsylvania for my senior year of college, and then I volunteered for the Daytona 500 that year 20 years ago. And I remember being on the backstretch and watching Tony Stewart in the Home Depot car, you know, rip around turn 2. And it was an emotional moment of like, I can't believe that I'm here. So I'm still that guy. I still have those feelings that I know after the green flag, when I get in the venue, I for sure will find a moment just to look out and watch the race, enjoy the race, and take in a few laps as a fan. So that's kind of for me like, all right, we did it, let's enjoy it, and then it'll click, all right, I got to go do 15 other things before the race is over.
Real quick, for me, I absolutely love the flyover.
Yes.
It gives me chills.
Yes.
Every single year. It's done so well. The fans love it. That moment is electric, and always the last lap is fantastic as well.
I mean, this place is, you know, the world center of racing. It's the great American race. You know, you'll get asked, well, why is that? I mean, what you just described, like, you have to feel it, you have to experience it. I mean, the flyover on your feet, look left, look to your right, the place is sold out. I mean, and what these drivers do behind the wheel, I mean, for 200 laps, it's just, there's nothing else like it. I mean, you have to be here to experience it, and that flyover is just the right way to kick it off.
Yeah, I like what you do. You walk in the infield. You've met some people in RVs that have driven here from all over the country, and that doesn't happen like at a Final Four or World Series. No. People arrive 8-9 days before the event. I mean, you meet some cool people in the infield here.
And stories, right? Yeah. I mean, you meet the local that was born and raised here, you know, born at Halifax Hospital, been coming here since they're 8-9 years old, and now they're 60 plus. And they are inviting all of their friends and their neighbors, and there's just that tradition that goes with it, to then the bucket list people of, I've watched it my whole life, and I said, one year we're going to do it, and here it is. Here's the year, and we rented this RV. I mean, to globally. I mean, people are flying in from all over the globe to be part of history, not only for the 65th running and the 75th anniversary of NASCAR. I mean, they want to be here and experience it, and they're here for multiple days. They want to talk to you. They want to hear your story. Or, hey, I ran out of ice or a cold beer. Well, here you go. Come on over. I want you to meet, you know, my brother-in-law. This is his first race. Or, can you believe that he's a fan of this driver? You know, tell him why he shouldn't be. Like, it's just that camaraderie for days. No one's worried about work or worried about stress. I mean, they're here to let their hair down and have a good time and to party, right? Great American race. How many campfires are going to be going? How many grills are going to be lit up? I mean, it's an awesome experience.
And the wheelbarrow races Friday night, I think they are. That's cool.
Don't tell our risk department about that.
No. Frank Kelleher, the president of the Daytona International Speedway, joining us. We really appreciate the time. And I can tell you, great job.
Thank you.
It really is. It is an event that it is on a lot of people's bucket list. I know it has been on ours as well.
Great. Well, grateful that y'all are here. I hope you two get to enjoy some of the race as well, and have a good time.
All right.
Very good.
Frank.
Frank Kelleher, the president of the Daytona International Speedway, really does a fantastic job. Can you imagine organizing a party basically for 150,000 people?
Yeah.
It really is.
And it works every year. It really works.
All right. As our countdown to Daytona continues, Chandler Smith joining us now. Chandler, tilt your seat there a little bit better, a little bit sideways.
That good?
That's perfect. You were in the Daytona 500 with Connolly Racing. What has it been like joining that organization in the NASCAR Cup Series?
Being an open car, trying to qualify in for the Daytona 500 for Connolly Racing, and a third car would be huge for us to get this third car in as an organization standpoint. We've only had, to my understanding, 2 cars each year. Adding a third Cup car and getting 3 Connolly Racing Chevys in the Daytona 500 would be huge for us as an organization for sure, and me as an individual.
You're probably one of the youngest drivers in the building here. How are you soaking it all in?
So I was in the championship last year at Phoenix, and everybody told me, like, hey, just take in the weekend, take it all in, this, that, and other, all the media and whatnot. And I took that, and I felt like I did a decent job, so I'm trying to, do the same thing this weekend. Or the week, honestly.
Yeah. All right, you mentioned that you are an open car. There are 6 drivers that are basically fighting for the final 4 spots. How do you approach the dual qualifying races? Do you just have to know where those other guys are?
No, we just got to beat them tonight. Just got to beat them tonight. Go qualify in tonight, and we'll be fine.
Okay. All right.
How much are you looking forward to getting through Thursday and getting to Sunday and just experience what the Daytona 500 is all about?
I'm just looking forward to getting through tonight, to be honest with you. We get through tonight, I'll be able to, really be able to dive in and know what to expect. If we're racing on Sunday or not, we'll know tonight as far as qualifying-wise, because we can qualify in on time. There's 2 guaranteed as far as qualifying in on speed. If I do my job right, getting a good launch, getting through my shift points good, we have a fast enough Chevy to get it done, so why not?
You're still a very young guy. What was the moment in your life that you decided, hey, NASCAR racing, that's for me. That's what I want to do?
3-year-old me watching Jimmy Johnson kick everybody's tail. That was when I started. I was 4 years old when I started.
4 years old watching Jimmy Johnson, and Jimmy's back. And Jimmy's back this year. Have you told him that story?
No, but he's probably seen it because so much the media has been kind of using that a lot this week. So I'm sure he's seen it. And our garage stalls are next door to each other, which is pretty cool. So
you have to go get a picture or something.
My dad already said I got to get a picture of y'all 2 together. That'd be so cool. Because he knows that he's the reason why I started racing.
Okay, so you're a big time fan of Jimmy. Oh
yeah,
the years.
Jimmy's excuse my language, but he is a badass.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. 83 career wins and 7 championships. You can be a bad, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's great.
You've had a lot going on, married, right, recently, baby.
Yep.
Now this. How you handling it all?
I'm just taking it all in, man. The good Lord's blessed me and my family beyond measures. We have a 6-month-year-old baby boy. He's a junior. They're out on the beach right now. My wife just sent me some pictures. I wish I was there. They're having a good time out there. So we're getting blessed, man, and we're just trying to take it in and spread the word while we can do it.
Connolly Racing has been an interesting story, sort of like a startup organization, a startup team. But boy, they have the pieces in place to be very successful. What's it like sort of being in almost on the ground floor of that organization?
Yeah, that's kind of what influenced me to come over here and make the swing from Toyota to Connolly Racing, I say, was that because I know that they're going to end up they're building something big. They're building an empire over here, and I want to be a part of that for years to come. So to kind of get started where I am now in the building process that they're at and embed my footprints and bringing what I can to the table, it's really special.
You won 3 times in the Truck Series last year. How much does winning show something about a driver? Just because it's hard to do.
Yeah, I don't know. The Truck Series, in my opinion, last year especially was really, really, really tight. It was really tight. Like, I raced the Xfinity car 3 times, and I felt like trucks were way more competitive than the Xfinity Series. So it was not easy in the Truck Series. Now, this year, I feel like the competition is definitely kind of leveled off a little more because a lot of people moved on and moved up to either the Xfinity Series and whatnot. Or they went to a different team, and there's just been a lot of moving factors. So I think it's going to be more balanced to how it should be, where last year I felt like Cup Series was obviously the most competitive. Trucks were second, in my opinion. In the Xfinity, you had probably about 5 to 6 guys that could win every weekend, where in trucks was like 11 every single weekend, right? So Xfinity, I feel, is going to be pretty tight this year, and the Cup's obviously Cup.
Very good. Chandler, we appreciate the time today. Best of luck on Sunday in the Daytona 500.
Yeah, thank you, guys.
Yeah,
thank you for having me on the show.
All right, very good. Well, obviously, he's one of those open cars, got to race his way in, but he's with a very, very good organization and has a shot to be in Sunday's race.
Yeah. And speaking of picks, we heard from Kyle Larson earlier who my pick is, and here is your pick.
Ryan Blaney.
Ryan, how you doing?
All right, great to see you. Ryan Blaney, of course, the driver of the number 12 car for Penske Racing. Ryan's got a great history here at Daytona of being so close. Your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions as you head into this year's Daytona 500.
Yeah, it's nice to be back. It's always shows that like the season's here now. We were in the Clash, stuff like that, but when you finally fly down and touch down here in Daytona, it's like, okay, we're here, and season has begun. And I've, like you said, we've been close here a few times. I probably had a really good shot to win this race 3 or 4 times and just came up short. And you hope to learn from those past experiences and apply what you learned and try to do them differently, and hopefully the end result is better. So been fortunate to be in a position to try to win. It's just the win hasn't come. So come Sunday, you just hope that you're in the you're running at the end. You're in a spot to try to win the race. That's the first part of it. You have to make sure you're there and you're running and survived it. But you just try to learn from your past time here and try to make sure that you can make the best of it.
You've finished 4th, 2nd, and 2nd here in the Daytona 500. Do you look back at video and go, I could have done that, or it's just like, man, it's a chaos at the end?
Yeah, I definitely look at video. Every year, you come and you look at the most recent race, and figure out, okay, hey, what did I do right? What did I do wrong? And let's figure out to do something different in those situations. Looking at the end of the 500 last year, would I have done something different? Now looking at it, yeah, and you're going to learn from those things. In the moment, you think you're making the right move, but obviously it didn't work out, so you didn't make the right move. So, yeah, you always learn from that stuff. So yeah, we watch a lot of video, at least I do, and you try to pick out things that you want to improve on.
Yeah, things happen in NASCAR racing so quickly. Can the average fan like us, can we appreciate how quickly you have to make decisions in the car, or is it just instinct?
Yeah, it's hard to compare. If you've never done something before, it's hard to, kind of live it, right, or think about it, right? And so that's tough to do. I feel like a lot of what we do is a lot of instincts. It's a lot, especially the speedway stuff. Everything's happened really quickly here in Talladega that it's a lot of gut reaction, instinct. It's almost subconscious. It's like breathing, right? I mean, you're because if moves are happening and you have to, understand the move is developing, think about it, make your decision. You've missed your opportunity. It's gone. So it's a lot of experience and just going by kind of the seat of your pants and relying on your abilities to make the right moves. And sometimes you make the wrong moves. I mean, that's just part of it. You're never going to always make the right moves, but it's a lot of instincts and it's a lot of really millisecond reaction. And that's hard to kind of tell people who've never had that, kind of in the moment of needing to make this right now, or you're going to miss your chance, or you're going to wreck. That's tough.
People do that in every sport. Like, why'd that quarterback throw an interception? Well, things happen fast. It's even faster, in racing.
Yeah, it's with everything, right? Every sport, it's split-second decisions, and people are going to make the wrong ones. No one's always going to make the right decision. So I can relate to those, other athletes out there who you hear people like, why did he do that? And be like, well, he had to make his choice then, and he made the wrong one. I mean, it's going to happen, and I've been in the same boat.
One of the things that I do love about NASCAR racing is the in-car camera. You know what I mean? That puts us in the car with you in many of those situations. That has been I think that's been one of the great additions to NASCAR, and I think it has helped, generate more fans when they see that. For you, as you approach the 2023 season, how do you take the next step? Because you're with a great organization, you've had a lot of success. How do you take that next step?
Yeah, I mean, you just always want to keep getting better, right? I mean, we had a good year last year. It's just we could never really close out when we needed to close out, and missed out on wins and making a run at the championship. So, you're always just trying to figure out as a driver, at least personally for me, okay, what do I struggle with? Whether it's behind the wheel or throughout the week, like prep work, what do I need to improve on? It's just like on-track stuff, right? You go back and watch film. It's kind of go back and assess your season. Okay, this is what I really need to improve on. And your team as well. Hey, we struggle in this department. Let's try to get better here, on pit road or pit calls. Everyone's working together to try to get better. So I think for our group, if we can just figure out how to close out races a little bit better, that's going to be really successful for our team.
At 29 years old, you're no longer the young guy. You're kind of in the prime, right? That NASCAR driver is usually about 29, 30, 31.
Yeah, I hope so. I like that. I like that reasoning. But, yeah, it's gosh, I mean, it's been hard. It's so hard to believe. It's been so long. And, I was talking to Mr. Penske the other month. I'm like, could you believe it's been 10 years since I walked in here? Because I signed with them in the summer of 2012, and it's unbelievable to me. It's already been over 10 years since I've been in, with those folks, and they've been so great to me and shows you how time flies. So hopefully, I like your idea in the prime and the sweet spot.
All right, so you're saying you like prime, and you're my pick to win on Sunday.
I appreciate that.
All right.
All the help we can get.
All right, very good. Ryan Blaney, we appreciate the
Thanks,
time.
guys.
As always,
you,
great
Ryan.
to see you.
Good luck.
Ryan Blaney, driver of the number 12 car for Penske Racing. What a great organization. His teammate, Joey Logano, of course, won the championship last year. And he's a threat.
Yeah.
He's a threat, no doubt about it.
I hope Ryan didn't mind us bringing up, you've been so close.
I know.
But he does have one good memory here. He won the summer race here a couple years ago, so he does have some good memories at Daytona.
No, he is, and he really is he's a nice kid.
Good guy.
Very, very open, honest. When he's come so close, he gets out of that car and he answers everybody's questions.
Sure. Yeah.
No doubt about that.
Well, that was
but
fun.
Again, no doubt about it. I can't believe the time has flown by as we had an opportunity to talk with several of the bigger names in NASCAR racing as we gear up for the 65th running of the Daytona 500. Again, your pick is?
Kyle Larson.
My pick is Ryan Blaney. And again, we hope you have a favorite driver that you're going to pick to win on Sunday in the 65th running of the Daytona 500. Tune in on Sunday to all of these Nexstar stations. There's a Countdown to Daytona live program that is at noon Eastern time on many of these stations, and, of course, followed by the Great American Race on Fox stations across the country. So, there you have it. There you have it.
I'm ready.
No doubt about it. Qualifying tonight, the dual qualifying races tomorrow, and then, of course, the Great American Race on Sunday. For Danny Harnden, I'm Kevin Connolly. We appreciate you watching Countdown to Daytona on this Nexstar stream. And, again, we hope to see you at the racetrack real soon.